Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. I'm your host, Sarah Monova. And today I want to talk about the topic that keep coming up lately a lot in my coaching sessions. And the topic is I'm feeling behind. And there are a lot of different variations, and I want to bring to your awareness of what those are. And then I would like to also look at what happens when we keep fixating on I'm feeling behind and are all the reasons. And what are the things that we're actually not doing? And then what can we do about it? And that's really the focus of today's conversation. So let's start with the first part, which is the examples that I keep hearing from people as to how that shows up in their lives. And maybe it is showing up in your life as well. And the way that I have heard people say is that I'm 40, I'm 50, and I should have figured out my finances by now. I should have been in relationship by now. I should have created a stability for my family now. I should have settled in one place by now. These are the examples that I keep hearing, which shows the belief behind it, which is I'm behind. I'm not where I am supposed to be. I am where I'm not supposed to be, and I want to be where I'm supposed to be. These are the energy or the thought processes that are going around when we think about how we're feeling behind. The other variation that I have heard is when we compare ourselves to other people, right? So when we compare ourselves to other people and say that so and so is in this position and I'm not in that position, so and so has already a stable contract and I'm not in that position, or so and so has a house or whatever other things that I like, and I'm not in that position. And this might be another way that we're comparing ourselves and we are showing to ourselves very regularly how we're behind and how we're not where we're supposed to be. Now, let's get curious about what happens if we keep fixating on I'm feeling behind, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. What happens when we keep doing that? What happens oftentimes is that we're not really present in our current life, right? We're not present in our current life, whether it's at work, whether it's in our homes, with our loved ones, with our children. We're not really present because we're thinking about where we should have been by now. The other thing that I notice that people often do when we are in this place of I'm feeling behind, I'm not supposed to be where I am, is we tend to be dissatisfied with a lot of things that's going on currently, right? We're so dissatisfied about how the work is going, how the financial situation currently is, how the crisis is going. It we look at it and we perceive those financial crisis situation as very negative, meaning that we just add the layer of, oh my God, excuse me, this is not the right time to be this crisis to be happening because I already feel behind and now I will never get to where I want to because the funding situation, the crisis in the humanitarian sector is so bad that I don't think I will ever get ahead of time or I will ever get to where I want to be. And then that adds an additional pressure, additional dissatisfaction and disappointment. And we also have a lot of likelihood of blaming ourselves and punishing ourselves for how we haven't done a lot of those other things that we could have done back in the day and we haven't done, right? So does that sound familiar? This is what we do when we are feeling behind, when we are feeling we're not supposed to be where we are. So in other words, we're not accepting what is, we're not present where we are currently, we're not also deciding what to do about that situation and how to change that. Instead, we keep fixating on what is wrong, right? And then guess what happens when we keep fixating on what is wrong instead of deciding what to do about it? What happens is then we actually don't find solutions, we don't create solutions, And if we do create solutions, what we end up oftentimes doing is we keep creating solutions from let me get away from this place as fast as possible. Let me get away from this place, like getting something else, no matter what it is, but let me just get out and get something else so that I can change. And then we give ourselves this illusion that if we just get out of here and do something else, no matter what that is, then we believe that we're going to at least find relief in doing that. Now, it may happen that we will get the relief, except that it will come back to whatever the thought process of what we believe to be true, which is I'm not where I am supposed to be, I'm behind. That thought processes will come to the next place that we transition to. And then what we end up doing is, oh my God, that's not really what I wanted. Everywhere sucks and everywhere this. And then we generalize and we make all of the things bad. And then we just keep compiling all the evidence of how we're behind, how we're not where we want to be, where we're supposed to be, how the external situations now will not allow us to go where we want. Even the change that we did already didn't help. This is all bad. And then we compile even more evidence to feel bad about ourselves and about our lives. And then as a result, you guessed what? We continue confirming, reinforcing that we are behind. We continue reinforcing that we are now never going to get ahead and go to the thing that we want to. And then we just give all the evidence to show that we shouldn't even try to go for what we want to. Now, if you feel this way, this is unfortunately very common. And what's also common is to fixate on all the things that are wrong. But what we need to now learn how to understand the impact of that belief process, how to like understanding and observing how that way of doing things will keep creating feeling behind even more, and also understanding that we are in charge of changing that situation. But the only way we can change it is if we don't focus on that what's wrong, but rather focus on how are we going to solve that, right? And that is the part that we're not spending nearly as much time as we're spending on what is wrong. And that's also very understandable because our brains like focusing on the negative, focusing on what's wrong, focusing on blaming ourselves. Our brains love doing that. But our job is to steer our brain and go for what we want to create and what we want to be living life now. Because if we're not going to live the life now the way we want to, we're not going to be able to build the life that we want to further, right? It's just very, I don't know, common logic, except that we miss it because we are so afraid of missing out on the life that we really want to and keep focusing on what's wrong. We're going to miss out on the life that we can actually create in the moment now. Therefore, the way that we can really shift from I'm behind and I'm this and I'm not and what's wrong and this is wrong and all of those things, because that's not what we want to focus on. What we want to focus on is, okay, what are the desires, deepest desires that I believe I should have by now that I don't? So maybe that is a building relationship, intimate relationship with someone. Maybe it is being with your loved ones. Maybe it is having the financial security. We need to get very specific as to what is it that we believe we should have had by the age of 40, by the age of 50, by the age of 60, whatever the age that you have in mind. What do we believe we should have? Maybe it's a house. Maybe it is being in one place. Maybe it is having the position at a particular level. Whatever it is, we need to get very specific. So let's take the example of building intimate relationship. So let's say that that's what you believe you should have by now and you don't. Now, let's think about, okay, I believe that I should have by now and I didn't. Let me now get very specific about why I didn't have that, why I didn't build it so far. why I didn't start that relationship so far. And again, don't get into the blame game of, oh, because I was bad because of this, because of that, whatever it is, but rather get more factual or more curious about, okay, what might be the reasons why I haven't started a relationship yet? Right? So maybe it is because I prioritize my work more. Okay, that could be one explanation. Maybe because I believed the app does not work. Maybe that's another explanation. Maybe because something else, right? So whatever those reasons are, because those are the reasons that were stopping us from building a relationship, an intimate relationship with someone. Okay. So now we know all of those reasons why we didn't build that relationship. Good, we're aware of it. We are not, again, we're not blaming ourselves. We're not blaming anyone. We're not getting into what's wrong and why it's wrong and all of those things. We're just finding answers as to why we haven't done it so far. Right? If we know why we haven't done it so far, then we can solve for them now. But if we keep staying in the emotional drama of all the doom and gloom, we will not be getting focused on what we can solve and what is within our control. So therefore, if we have learned how to figure out what are the reasons why we haven't been dating, what are the reasons why we haven't been building intimate relationships, then we need to start understanding what we're going to do about it. So a lot of the times that when I coach people, the reasons why they say that they haven't started the intimate relationship is because they believe they didn't have time for it. Okay, now how do we create time? Because we all have equal time, right? We all get 24 hours a day, okay? And it seems like some people are having relationship and working and all the other things. So how are they doing it that we're not able to do it? Not again from the comparative perspective, but from the curiosity of if other people if other humans are able to create it, that means it's possible. That means they have figured it out. That means we can figure it out too. So therefore, let's try to find a way to create time to go on a date. So another reason oftentimes that I hear people say that because I don't believe there are people that I want exist. Okay, then what are we going to do? Because if we're going to go with that logic, we will not even search or even be open to dating and finding out and getting to know other humans because we're just shutting ourselves down before we even start. And is that what we want to do? Because that's the logic and the belief system that led us to not starting a relationship in the first place, and therefore making us feel we are behind and we're not where we're supposed to be, right? So therefore, we need to take a bit of the responsibility for, okay, these are the reasons I believe to be true. And now I want to question them because this is the belief that stopped me from going and dating someone else or connecting to other humans and finding out how and what people are out there. So the same goes for, let's say you have another desire of financial security, right? Okay, you want to be financially secure so that you don't put your family through this. Amazing. Now let's find out all the reasons why you haven't done it so far, right? So what are the reasons why you didn't make the financial security possible? By the way, you can also be very specific about what financial security means to you and why you haven't done it so far. So, for instance, some of my clients tell me that the financial security they want is having savings of 100K or having the investment that has the ability to give them 5K a month or 3K a month income so that they feel financially secure, right? So whatever your understanding of financial security is, okay, why haven't you done it so far? Because it seems like that was important to you for some time now, because that's why your brain is saying now you are feeling behind. So if you haven't done that before, there's always a reason why that was the case, right? Maybe it is because you didn't believe that you can do that. Maybe you didn't believe that your job will be at risk at some point. Maybe you believe that you are someone who's not really good at investing or saving or whatever it is, right? So, okay, you have all of these revelations. Now you get to decide, okay, how do you want to change that belief system? What actions do you need to be taking now to start moving towards that investment that you need to make, or start moving towards that financial security that you need to make, right? And then you start working towards that instead of staying in this, what is wrong and something is wrong and I can't do anything about it. And like someone come and rescue me, maybe energy. And that's certainly used to be my energy a lot of the time in the past, is I always felt like, okay, someone needs to know the answer for my problems, right? Or someone um like get me the manual and figure out my situation because I don't know how to figure out my situation. Or I'm feeling behind, so therefore someone else needs to come and pull me towards what I want to, or whatever the um, like waiting expectation that you have, that you keep waiting for something to happen, even though you feel like you can't really do anything about it. And therefore, we need to get out of that mindset by looking at, okay, these are the things that if I had them, then I would feel like I am living my life and not even like I'm behind in my life, right? Because the place that I would love to take everyone to is the place where I am loving and thriving in my life. That's really what I would love to get to. And not just, oh, I'm behind in my life. I am not where I'm supposed to be. I missed out on all of those things. And if we keep staying in that place and not changing, guess what happens? We just keep reinforcing that over and over again into the future. So therefore, once we start understanding, okay, what is it that we thought we should have had and we didn't have and why, we start understanding the reasons. And then the next step is solving those reasons, right? And solving those reasons regularly and consistently. And this is something that I think a lot of us don't really do, or most importantly, committedly as well. A lot of the times we don't really do that because we just feel like, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think this is how things work, or I don't think this, I don't think that. And then we again start sabotaging ourselves and stopping ourselves from going for what we want to. And in that moment, what we need to understand is, of course, we need to recognize our sabotages, but also we need to understand that if we keep um, committedly making the effort to making it work in some way that we want to, or believing that we can make it work. If we don't do that, then we keep stopping ourselves from going for what we want. We keep stopping in the middle of it. We keep stopping the minute it doesn't work. And then we just feel like, okay, I give up. It didn't work for me, as if to say, like, we're trying to prove to someone that what we want is not going to work. And that I call it advocating for your worst case scenario. Because the way that we somehow like show up in our lives as if to say, okay, let me prove all the ways of how what I want is not going to work. And then I'm like, but why do we do that? Why would we ever try to prove to ourselves that what we want is not going to work? Instead, finding all the different ways to see, okay, what if I do it this way, it will work? What if this way it will work? What if this way it will work? And then start experimenting and learning and exploring in our own ways of doing things. Because again, there are lots of different ways things can work. And the reason why we know it is because other people are doing it, right? If it was something that no one has ever done before, I could still understand. But things can work. A lot of people are doing it. So how can be that they all are right and we are wrong? And I also don't believe in the right and wrong, but I'm just saying that the way that I think we approach things is often as if like we are really trying to show to everyone that, okay, you see, I have tried this, it didn't work. And it can't work in my situation. It can work in many others, but not in my situation. And that I feel is very much the victim energy as well. And again, as I said, I used to be one of those people who would also say, well, it didn't work. Well, it didn't work. Obviously, this doesn't work, right? And then we keep focusing on how much of this doesn't work and this doesn't work and this doesn't work and giving up all of the time when what we end up then doing is we end up creating the habit of giving up on our dreams, on our lives, and therefore we're back to I'm behind, it's not working, I'm not supposed to be where I am, and then like feeling the defeat and not doing anything. So that's why what we want to approach this in the next step is approach it with commitment of I'm in charge of finding out how to make it work, if you will. I'm in charge of finding out how to connect to other humans so I can build intimate relationships. I'm in charge of how to make the financial security work for myself and for my family. And I want to get curious how to make that work so that I no longer keep complaining about how I'm behind and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Because if we keep doing that, the thing that is so interesting is that we turn everything into a habit. And once it becomes a habit, then it becomes so difficult to break. And because it becomes difficult to break, we then keep fulfilling the prophecy of how, you see, that's not going to work. And that's why so if we, like, if I sum up from the beginning, right? So we understand what are the deepest desires that make us feel like, okay, this is the life I want to live and love and thrive. This is the life that I really want and I'm living it. In order for us to feel that way, what are the things need to be in place? The relationship, the financial security, the job, the house, whatever it is that we want to have it in place. And then the next thing is, okay, how can we look at all the problems that were in the way before that stopped us from solving and getting the things that we want to? What are the problems they were? What are the obstacles they were? And then the next part is how can we approach this in a committed in a consistent way to solve it and to get to what we want to, instead of just keep feeling like, well, let me prove to you how this doesn't work and that doesn't work, and keep advocating for our worst case scenarios. And then once we do that, then we start learning so much about ourselves and about whatever the thing that we're doing, that we start realizing, oh my God, life is so much more than being stuck in, I'm not supposed to be where I am, but instead proactively solving those things, proactively building those relationships, proactively building those securities, whatever it is that we're building, then we feel like alive and we feel like this is it, this is where I am, or I'm about to get to what I want to. And we start having so much excitement, so much power, so much more freedom and fulfillment to say, okay, I'm on the right track. And then that's how we start creating what we want in life. Okay, my dears, if you would like to work on this, come coach with me in my group coaching. Currently, enrollment is open. If you join before 21st of March, I'm also giving you 1 month of free individual coaching, so you cannot or don't want to be missing it. And let me know what you think. And in the meantime, have a beautiful week.